Today's conversation is about something we don't often talk about in a world obsessed with achievement, productivity, and external success. What remains when everything you thought defined you is stripped away? My guest today is Kristin Dwan, founder of The Healing Woods, certified hypnotherapist, Reiki master, and one of the contributing authors in our upcoming book, The Way of the Initiate: Stories of Remembering, Awakening, and Becoming the New Human. After surviving a near-death experience in a burn ward, losing everything she owned in two separate fires, and navigating profound grief, Kristin discovered something that could not be taken away from her: the healing power of ritual. In this conversation, we're exploring initiation, resilience, ritual as medicine, the wisdom of the five elements, and what happens when life burns away everything except what is essential. Kristin, welcome to High on Life.
Thank you for having me.
This is going to be a conversation today, and I'm really excited to have it. So fire, two times, not once, losing everything. There's got to be something behind the symbol, and what you work with five elements, and fire is one of those elements. So I'd love first to just start with the story, because I think that's, with everyone here, we need to understand there's things that happen in our lives that create such profoundness. And I've known you since before the second fire. So this is not something that, this is the story like continues on as we know that there's been one fire and then there was a second one. And so share that story about these two fires and and how that relates to what you're going to contribute into the Way of the Initiate.
Yeah, I truly believe that as humans, we all have an element that calls us. And, yes, I've had two fires where I've lost everything, but the call to fire happened when I was a child. My first word was hot because I got burnt by soup.
Mm.
So
Wow.
it was an early calling with fire for me. But yes, I'd say my first initiation with fire happened in 1998, and that was completely my fault. Unlike the second fire, which was a wildfire, which I did not start. But the first fire I did start with a ritual candle. It was a road opening candle. And I was at a point in my life, I was in my 20s. I was spiritual, but didn't have any type of direction. I was super angry at the world and didn't love myself, and did a road opening. So I will say too, because I know there's, witchcraft is trending right now. Like, before you do a spell, make sure you are in alignment with yourself.
Yeah, because you said road opening. That really did
Oh yeah,
literally open a road,
yes.
but not in the way you really wanted.
No. I was thinking like money's going to come my way, right? No, no. Money did not come my way. A wall of flames came my way.
Mm.
So yes, I fell asleep with the road opening candle burning, and I woke up with, my whole room in flames, and I had to run through a wall of flames to get out of there alive. Ended up in a burn ward with third-degree burns over 30% of my body. But the gift within that, after all the pain, after the literally fighting for my life, because I did die on the table during the first skin grafting surgery, and coming back, the gift was, I love myself. I am excited for life. Life is a gift, and I'm going to do something completely different with it. So that was the gift of the first fire. And that got me on my path to becoming a Reiki master, and then also becoming a hypnotherapist, and getting even deeper into ritual, deeper into a practice, a spiritual practice, not just being spiritual. That's two different things, right?
Mm.
There's oh, I know that there's something and I'm connected to it, and then there's the practice of making it stronger and deeper. And that first fire got me started on the path of deepening my spirituality and creating that practice. So fast forward to 2025, just last year, I'm in a strong place. I love myself. I'm helping people in the world, so there wasn't this like brokenness to me of like, oh, I just want to change things. In fact, I was in a place, this is funny. I was in a place where I was just calling in peace instead of like opening the roads and like charging down, everywhere. I was in a place where my mom was on hospice and life was very loud, in 2024, the beginning of going into 2025. So I lit a ritual candle for peace, and I always have a theme for the year. So 2025's year was peace and release. And so I lit that candle, put it very safely in my fireplace on January 1st. And it was one of those 7-day candles that would burn down in 7 days. Literally 7 days later is when the fire started in the hills. And like 5 hours later, it went from the hills all the way down into the town of Altadena. And my house was completely burnt down with that ritual candle safely in its place, burning down. So I did get peace and release in 2025, again, not in the way I thought.
Yeah.
you know. So yes, fire is very quick. It's very quick, it's very powerful, and it's transformative. And so that is, I'm a double phoenix now. I call myself the double phoenix because I've been through it twice now, and I
Yeah.
still love fire. I'm
Well,
not.
and fire is purification too, right? So it's this idea of like purifying what is no longer. And I find it fascinating that both of your fire rituals worked.
But I did
And
not
so
start the eating fire. I'm not owning that. I did not start the
yeah,
eating
no,
fire.
but you got peace. You got the peace and the release that you were looking for in that, right? So the power of the experience behind ritual, which is one of the things that you now really work with ritual and the 5 elements, is understanding there is a power to this. There is a power to what can happen when you work with the elements and ritual, and so that leads us into this, the idea of like, here you are, these 2 initiations. And for those of you listening, the book explores the moments, the initiations that fundamentally change us, the experiences that alter the trajectory of our lives and make it impossible to return to who we once were. And I believe that both of these times it was impossible for you to return to who you were. So now we're here, that was 2025. We're now later than that. What shifted for you, or what started to move, because you were already working with ritual, right? You were already working with these things. So what has become clear after the peace and release, and the things that has shifted even more for you in this next phase?
So yes, I was very deep within ritual, and it was a lot of ritual that was for the public or for clients, right? And I was getting to a point where 2024 was very, like as I said, loud for me. I was very busy doing rituals for people, renting out halls and doing stuff, or traveling and doing that, and it wasn't like just me connecting to myself, it was me connecting for others.
Mm.
And then my mom started, really needing a lot of my help. So I got into a place of like ritual became work. And so it was still very real, and the things that I was doing for people and with people were transformative and beautiful for them, not so much for me, right? I wasn't like taking the time to do my own personal ritual.
Mhm.
And and really not having the time and the energy when you're taking care of somebody who's ailing, plus running a business, plus, right, all the things in life. It's hard to take that time that's really needed.
Well, I want to start right there, or stop right there for a second, for those that may be listening to Eye on Life that don't understand exactly what a ritual is. What makes a ritual different from just a routine?
The intention, the focus you put into it, the meaning you make behind it, right? Like brushing your teeth is sort of a morning ritual, right? But you're not like, I'm brushing away the impurity. You're just brushing your teeth because you're in it, and it's subconscious at that point.
Hmm.
But lighting a candle for money or peace, or planting something in your garden that represents love, those are rituals that have that intention.
And so it doesn't have to be something that you repeat often, because like I've planted, during certain times of the year, I will set intentions into seeds and then, throw them in the backyard like wildflowers, or something that we do with our students, that will have them set intentions in or plant it. So it doesn't necessarily, a ritual can be a one and done.
It can definitely be a one and done, or it could be something, I have rituals that I do every morning,
Okay.
So ritual is just your connection, I believe anyway, my connection to my higher self, to the universe, and
Mm.
sometimes to the ancestors, like whoever I'm trying to connect with within.
Oh, right. And so, why do you think that ritual has existed in virtually every culture throughout history?
We have to stay connected to what is bigger than us because as little humans on this earth, we're creating a lot of shit. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of noise and there's a lot of fear and just a lot of like illusion out there. And so when you close your eyes, even just closing your eyes, holding your heart and breathing, that little tiny ritual just
Mm.
brings you right back to what's real. Your connection to yourself, your connection to what's above and below and around you, and something that is of peace, in a world that's just screaming chaos right now.
So would you find a ritual, because you said setting an intention puts the something behind the ritual. Would you say, like, I have a practice of setting intentions when I wake up in the morning. Is there something more to it than that makes it that piece of it a ritual? Is there something that, you said you have morning rituals that you do. Is there something that I could add to just that? I mean, I have several things that I would call rituals that I do, but specifically for this, like waking up in the morning and setting an intention for the day, is there something that could be added to that or different that would make that more of a ritual?
I would say just your intention that this is my new ritual. I'm adding this layer into my ritual. And the thing about morning and evening rituals, as a hypnotherapist, I'm going to say they're even deeper during those two times of the day because that's when your subconscious is more open to what you are consciously telling it. Like I am setting the intention for the day. This is going to be a day filled with peace or a day filled with abundance or love or whatever, your intention is. Your When your brain is used to being asleep, that subconscious is more activated the first like 20 minutes you're awake and the last 20 minutes you're awake before you go to sleep. So that's powerful, like the morning and evening rituals.
Okay. And so the working with the subconscious mind, tell us the technique or what works, because you're a hypnotherapist and you're literally saying ritual works with the subconscious mind. And
Yeah.
we all know that we all have some subconscious patterns that we're trying to get rid of.
Yeah.
That we don't want to, so how can I use this ritual and how does it activate the subconscious mind? Even more than just in the morning and in the evening, but what's that process like?
Well, for me, I create recordings for myself to go to sleep to or to wake up to. So
Mm.
I create hypnosis recordings in my own voice, which, your voice is truth to your brain. Your brain is used to hearing your thoughts and the words that you use. So that's why working with a hypnotherapist or on yourself is more powerful than like maybe downloading something on YouTube to bring in a good day, because your brain knows your patterns and your way of speaking.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I've never really thought about that, but of course.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. We're like, I always talk about every moment of every day, are not just our subconscious, but our DNA is listening to everything that we're saying. So it makes sense. And I'm always teaching people processes to rewire that. But it makes sense that when we're doing it in our own voice compared to like, oh, I made this beautiful audio for you to listen to,
Hmm.
that it's going to be more powerful when it's in your own wording and in your own voice and in your own energy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I really love that. So, the key to today's conversation is about what happens when everything is falling apart, right?
Mhm.
And bringing that back into this idea of how we can work with the five elements and rituals. So, when someone that's watching this is like, hey, I'm living a life. Uh, I see that the scaffolding is starting to fall. I know that I'm losing myself. Like, what is the first suggestion for someone that is in that place of like falling apart and maybe they don't have rituals yet, or they're not working with a certain element? What would you say to that type of person?
I would say start with grounding. That was the first, I ran to earth, ran to earth, and it's as simple as, like I said, closing your eyes, maybe like sitting on the ground, literally sitting on the grass, or, you're back against a tree, and just really, setting intention of, I am strong enough. I can get through this, like whatever it is you need to tell yourself. But earth is where it starts. Earth is, it's where we're living. We're living on the earth. So, it's great to be up in the cosmos, and believe me, I am. As a triple Aquarius, I can cosmos with the best of them. Also, it's so important to stay where we are on this earth
Mhm,
too,
mhm.
right?
So you work with the five elements, and that's part of what your book is, that your chapter in the book that you're sharing. So can we just go through what are the five elements, and some of the most powerful ways to that you work with each of them, or how, or work with them when you work with clients?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So earth, crystals are earth. So if you have just like a crystal
Mhm.
that, I keep crystals in my bra all the time just to have them very close to me, and I don't need to worry about where are they? Are they in my purse? Are they in my backpack? Like, no, it's right here with my heart, right? Planting, we talked a little bit about planting medicine. Like I did so much planting in grief, and literally crying as I'm pulling out weeds, and throwing in seeds, and watering with my tears, just like so much grief. And now a year later, I've got this amazing garden that is like blooming through that grief, so earth is very powerful, and it gives you like, when everything's burnt away and I feel like I'm not able to work right now, I don't have any of my tools, like what am I even doing in life? I created beauty with that, right? I created
Mm,
a living organism of magic, and that I
mm.
now do my ritual in that garden. So,
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
yeah. So that's earth. Air, breath. We forget to breathe. Air is the one thing that we can't go without for like what, more than a minute? All the other stuff we can live for a while without it, right? But air, we need that air. So doing breath work, first thing in the morning, and or whenever I felt the grief come up. A lot of times when grief starts to come up, we push it down because it's not the right time, or we got to get through this thing, or I'll do it later. And then guess what? It doesn't come up. You can't just like, okay, grief, come on. So what I would do was I would pull the grief up with the breath, and release it, either with mantra or literally crying. Crying is breath work too. Like taking that breath and just like releasing a sound, a noise, just to get that out. I would do that a lot with clients too, that were holding a lot of tension. We would do scream therapy, right? Just like take a big breath and just scream it out.
That's
um
one of my favorites.
yeah, yeah. Well, and then I take it another step. So I'm lucky enough, in the home that I ended up in after the fire, I have a pool. So I'll take like air and water together, and I'll
Mm.
be in the water doing laps just to like get the energy going. And then when I feel it build up, just scream bloody murder in the water. My neighbors aren't going to call the police. They can't hear it. It's in the water, but the water's holding me as I'm using that breath. So there's ways to like intermix the energies of all of the elements.
Mm, hmm. Okay, beautiful. So fire and air, and now next you were talking about water. What are other ways
Yeah.
with water?
So I didn't actually talk about fire yet. So fire, I still
I
use
meant earth.
fire.
I say fire. I meant earth, earth and air.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm all stuck on the fire.
I know, right? Well, me too, girl. Double Phoenix can't help but. So I have a fire pit in my yard. I have two fireplaces in this home, So I will still use fire. And I have created, back in high school, I created a thing called a bullshit bonfire. And so I still do those every full moon. Like I'm like, let me release what is in the way of what I want to bring into full power in my life. And fire will take it away. It's taken away my whole town. It's taken away my,
Mhm.
lives that I've lived, before right now. And, after dealing with the grief, dealing with the loss, the fire also gives you that energy and that spark to get your new life going, right? And so that's what I'm using fire for now, is
Ooh.
rebuilding.
Yeah, well, yeah, I love that. How we can transmute and use the elements in different ways, right? So, You think of different things like in the world, fire can be completely destructive. It can destroy things. But now you're saying, yeah, but I can use it to spark something new, or it sparks an idea, or and it purifies. Like it keeps us warm at night, right? Like there's things like that. Water is the most powerful. It can carve into rocks, right? It can completely move earth and matter. We have the ocean. We have
Yeah.
the elements of the when we have a what's it? Hurricane, right? A hurricane can be
Mhm.
completely destructive. A
Yep.
tsunami can be completely destructive. But then also, like our bodies are made of 90% water. And so it's such a powerful element. Or air, tornadoes can be completely destructive. But then air, we can't live without it. We have to breathe. And so it's the beauty of the balance of like, there's both pieces of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Beautiful. So we had earth, we had water, we had fire, because
Mhm.
or no, I keep saying them all wrong. Earth, air, fire. We touched on water. You talked about a
Yeah.
little bit with the pool, but share a little bit more about water.
I love the ocean. I'm lucky enough to live like in an area that has, oceans near me. If you don't have an ocean near you, there's also rivers and streams and lakes, right? There's your bathtub.
Mhm,
Your
mhm,
bathtub can be a magical portal. But since I'm lucky enough to live near the ocean, yeah, I went to the ocean so much to
mhm,
release the grief. And I'm a really good swimmer, so I will swim out, into the waves and let them just hit me. And the force of those waves sometimes, like I could literally feel the power of the ocean like hitting me in different chakras and releasing towards through the back.
mhm,
And then once I felt like I was good enough with the release, I would swim out past the waves and then just like float in the water doing Reiki on myself in this like
mhm,
vast womb of the earth. That's what I feel like the ocean is. It's like Mama Ocean. So I
mhm,
went back to the womb and just talked to her. Yeah.
Beautiful. And then the fifth element.
Spirit,
Mhm,
right? Just like being in touch, and spirit can mean so many different things to so many different people, and it's all true and it's all right. Like for some people it's God and Mary, and that's amazing. For other people it's Shiva. For other people it's their higher self, like the universe, like whoever, whatever it is, just
mhm,
connecting to it, because that is where truth really is. It's not going to be found in a book. It's not going to be told to you by anybody taught in some lesson online, right? Like your truth is, it's right around you, within you, on top of you, and below you. It's spirit.
Now, are there certain elements that are better for like certain things? Like if I'm like we were talking about processing grief and having a
Mhm.
near death experience, rebuilding, went to the ground. But what if we're trying to manifest something or birth something or create? Are there certain elements that you're like, this is the go-to or the thing that I like, or is it dependent on the person?
I think it's depending on on people, right? Like what they're drawn to. Like for me, it's always gonna be fire. I can use fire for literally anything, right? Because
Mm,
I I I harness it. Like I know how to write it, you know.
yeah.
But for some people, they're gonna be more focused on water. Water is their thing, and you can release with water. I do lots of releasings into rivers, like having it take away things that I don't want, or standing in a river where the water is coming your way and feeling its energy come in to bring what is needed, right? So there's ways that you can blow something out, like I want to blow out my anger, or you breathe in the love, right? So it's like you can use all of them
Mhm,
however you want. That's the beauty
mhm,
of them. It's
mhm,
the earth's like free medicine for us. You
mhm,
could go find it anywhere. Just walk outside. You can find anything. A
yeah.
feather, that's air. A breeze in your air, on your face, that's air. Oh, look, there's a rock. There's earth, right? Like light a little candle. There's your fire, right? But be
Mm,
very careful.
yeah.
We don't need another fire or wildfire.
Well, as we know, one of the reasons that we're doing the Way of the Initiate is because I believe that we are going through a collective initiation right now in the world. I think that that's this entire thing. So I would love, even though I know it's very personal and things like that, if you were to look at the world as a whole and what's going on, what element do people need most right now, do you think?
I think spirit,
Mm,
right? I mean, it's that higher knowledge of it's going to be okay,
Yeah.
right? Instead of, oh my God, what's going to happen if I lose my job? And what if we go to war? And what if? Spirit's up there, like, I've got you. I've got you. You're going to be okay no matter what. No matter what burns down, no matter what dies, no matter, like spirit. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I
And I'm
agree.
getting like chills right now. So, yeah.
So, spirit. So, I would love if you would share a ritual for those out there in the world that relates to the element of spirit.
Mhm.
That maybe be something really simple, or that they can take with them from today. That we could say, "Hey, since this is an element we all need right now, and this is the world is in this collective initiation. Here's a starting point with the element spirit."
So I would say, our ancestors, that's always going to be my first go-to because they
Mm.
are of your blood, they are of your bone, and they are focused on you, right? Like spirit can be kind of like big and oh, it's the universe. How do I even like access that? But our ancestors, we can access with thought, just focusing on them. What I like to do is I always have an ancestor altar, not just like once a year, you know, like during Halloween or Samhain or
Mm.
Dia de los Muertos. I have an ancestor altar going all the time, and that's actually part of my morning practice. I will light a candle for my ancestors, and I'll just talk to them like they're still there. I
Mm.
have found things that have been lost forever just talking to my ancestors. And then all of a sudden, like I'll be walking and it's like literally put in my path. I've asked them for help with, uh, all kinds of money, like health, all kinds of things. Like they want you to continue working, so they're going to help you as much as possible.
Mm.
Whereas the universe is like focused on everybody, right? Like your ancestors are focused on you. So a really simple way is just have a picture out of, maybe an ancestor, a grandmother, grandfather, anybody.
Mm.
Ancestors, I believe, also are teachers and friends too, not just your bloodline, right?
Mm.
So whoever you want to reach out to, have a picture, put a little offering, maybe a flower they used to like, or if you have a trinket from them, like a ring or
Mm.
anything, If you don't have trinkets, you can write their name on a piece of paper. And so I hold that piece of paper, put it to your heart, and just call to them. And one thing I like to do is like if I'm working on money, I'll call in an ancestor I knew was really good with money
Mm.
to have them help open the doors and just talk to them. It's beautiful to connect to them too. It helps your heart and your grief as well. But also, it has opened so many doors for me just working with those ancestors.
Wow, that's really powerful. And what about for, say, someone who's like, yeah, well, I didn't really get along with my ancestors or my grandparents or my parents. Does it still work?
Well, yeah, like I said, if or some people don't know their family, right?
Yeah.
Because they were adopted. You can just ask for the collective, like my bloodline. Just call them your bloodline.
Mm.
It doesn't need to be grandma, Judy. Like it could be like
Yeah.
great 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 grandmothers, that is really ancestors known and unknown is a very powerful way to like call in, and then there's other people who are like, oh, but wait, what if my ancestors weren't the best people? I believe truthfully that when you connect in spirit, you're connecting to the true essence of them. So whatever
Mm.
they did as a human, unless of course they did something really horrible to you and you don't want to connect with them, like that's totally fine, right? But I believe that when you connect with your ancestors, when you're connecting with spirit, your pure intention of only ancestors that will help me, that you're in charge. Like we are in charge of who we call in, right? And so
Yeah.
if you're very like specific with that, it can actually help you like move through some stuff.
Mm. Hmm. I love that. So, starting with the element of spirit and connecting
Mhm.
specifically to your ancestors because they're there for you, which makes a lot of sense. Like, I do a lot of work with the universe and things like that, but I don't do as much. And it's funny because both my father and my grandfather who have passed have come through before, and I listen to this here and there and stuff, but it's not something that I've ever intentionally, except like you said, every once in a while when it's like a specific date or something, have ever intentionally really said, hey, why don't you guys help me and support me. Like, I'd love your support. Like, yeah, I mean, it makes so much sense
Yeah.
to think about it that way, that they're more going to be more focused on you than if you're asking for something from, the universe, or that's really, really powerful.
They are
One of,
100% listening too. Like I have
yeah.
a very interesting story if you want to hear about.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So, January 7th was the day of the fire, and I was here in this house that I'm at. This is my mother's house. She left it for me after she died. And so she died 2 months after the fire. So I had a lot of layered grief going on within that, which is what ritual helped me like crawl out of. But this was before the fire, before my mom died. I was going through like boomers. I love them, but they keep everything. And so I had boxes and boxes and boxes of papers and letters, and which is beautiful. And so I'm going through these boxes and I find my grandmother's journal.
Mm,
And so I'm like crying and like just here, just like reading her journal. And it was like she was talking to me. It was something I was like dealing with in life at that point. Like she was writing about, like she went through it too. And so it was like she was giving me advice. All of
mm.
a sudden, and I used to stay here until like 10 p.m. Like it sometimes sleep on the couch and like take a nap or whatever. That night of the fire, like there was something like my grandmother was just like, go home, go home. And I'm like, I have got this other closet to do. I'm gonna get, okay, fine, I'll go home. When your spirit guides tell you to do something, do it.
Mm.
I get home. Within 20 minutes of me getting home, the fire erupted. And with the winds, 100-mile-an-hour winds, within, probably an hour or two, it went from all the way up in the mountain to the heart of town. And if I would have fallen asleep here or like stayed here till 10 p.m., my cats might not be with me right now. But my grandmother got me out of here and got me
Wow.
home just in time to like get my cats, get my important paperwork, and come back here. So
Wow. Yeah.
they will help you.
Yeah. Yeah. If we're willing to listen, for sure.
Yeah.
One of the things that you've touched on that I'd love to touch on today is grief.
Yeah.
Grief is one of the emotions that you've really been, you've had grief both from loss in your own world, in your own life, and like losing the identity of who you thought you were and moving forward, but also grief through losing your home and your mother. What did grief teach you that nothing else could?
To reach out for help.
Oh,
That was huge for me because I am so used to doing it on my own. I am a strong, powerful goddess, 100%. I'm an only child, a latchkey kid, parents divorced in the 80s, right? Like I have always done it alone. And 2025 showed me it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to be weak, because there was always like, no, I'm strong. I can get through this. I'm a goddess. It's like, yeah, and I need to receive.
mm,
And there's times where I couldn't even get out of bed, and I was afraid to like go out, like that fire really, that PTSD really, I didn't feel safe going into um, hiking or into nature. And everybody who knows me, I mean, I called my practice the healing woods because I love the woods so much. I would hike almost every day because I lived right by a trail, right? And so
mm,
all of a sudden for that identity to be gone, like my inner peace to be gone, my
mm,
place of solace, right?
mm.
Yeah, it was the biggest lesson was ask for help. It's okay to be weak and it's okay to receive.
I just want to let that land for everyone because I think that that is such a powerful thing to understand. We have built a society where we do it all alone. We've gone from these communal societies and where people worked in circles and they raised the children together and there was the elders and everything came together and everybody supported and loved each other, to living in houses by ourselves with backyards. We never sit in the front yard anymore. We're doing all the work ourselves and we're not asking for help. And
Mhm.
it's become this thing where this is the society that we've built where it's easier to talk to somebody on Instagram
Right?
that or through a text than it is to have a real connection and ask for help.
Yeah.
Yeah, powerful, powerful, powerful. Oof, yeah, I felt that one deep, deep in myself. So the subtitle of our upcoming book, which you can find more information on thewayoftheinitiate.com, which is going to be in the show notes below. The subtitle of our book is Remembering Awakening and Becoming the New Human. What does becoming the new human mean to you?
Maybe becoming more human at this point, right? With AI and like how the society is going. It's like we're not machines. We were never meant to be. Like we're meant to like experience this world. We were born to receive and experience and create, and like there's not a lot of that happening, and I mean there is like I am in a huge creation mode. I'm working on 3 writing projects, including this one, right? So there's people who are making the time to do it, but in general there's just like a lot of concrete concrete and machines, and yeah, like, oh, I'm just gonna like check on you on Facebook or Instagram, but not like see you and hug you and go to tea with you, yeah.
Yeah, I've made a real big point of uh, connecting with someone every week, at least going on a walk or having a
Yeah.
coffee or meeting for dinner or something like that. Because, I live at home, I live alone, I work by myself, and unless I'm doing my live events, it can, besides when I go to the gym, like that, it's not really connection there. That's, working out in a group.
Yeah.
You have to make an effort to make sure you're building and having that community and those connections around you.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so the new human, going back to being the truth of the humanity that we really are.
Yeah.
So you said you do morning rituals.
Mhm.
Would you like to share a couple of your morning rituals with our community?
Sure. So, as a lot of people I'm sure do, I used to wake up with my cell phone, right? Like it has an alarm. It's very, so with in 2025, I decided I am no longer doing that. I have an alarm clock now. And instead of like, turning off my cell phone and like going, oh, there's messages, my phone is in a different room. I do not sleep with my phone
I
anymore.
haven't slept with my phone in years. I hear
Good.
you. That's,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the first thing I do is I just take breaths, and I think about and I journal 5 things that I'm grateful for and
Mhm.
5 intentions that I have for the day.
Mm,
So and then I do a little bit of Reiki on myself.
mm,
And if I have like that's a quick morning. If I have like a slower morning, then I'll go out into my garden, and I have a special space set up there, and I'll do Reiki on myself out in the garden and listen to a hypnosis, that brings the day in for me.
mm.
And then I do all the things I need to do for other people in life and in business and all that, but I make sure I have at least like that half hour to an hour if I have a slower morning of just connection to spirit, myself, play with my kitties.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have to have that time to myself. I don't let the world in until, and I may be a bit excessive. I'm about a 3 hour person, meaning that nobody gets into, but I wake up super early, like 5:30, 6 o'clock. So
Yeah.
I won't let anybody in my world until 9,
Oh
so
yeah,
that,
no. I
yeah,
don't let people
yeah,
I don't like the Healing Woods does not open until 10 actually.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
I'll be up, but then maybe I'll go into like, oh, now I'm gonna write or do something that's
yeah,
working on my business instead of in it. But yeah, I don't
yep.
work in my business until at least 10 a.m.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't, not, my business is around 10 a.m. for me also, but in general, like even, except for if I'm going on a walk with one of my girlfriends in the morning, like,
Yeah.
sometimes we'll walk at like 7:30 a.m. Otherwise, unless you are the most important person in my life, you can message me at any time or whatever, and you're not hearing back from me until,
Yeah, totally.
like no phone, no nothing. So, yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. What an incredible way you have brought ritual and the elements into your life, and such practical ways that we can use this to really enhance what we're doing in our lives, and play with these energies together and combine the elements and the rituals in such a beautiful way. I'm super excited, for what you're sharing in the book and for what you're creating and what you're doing. And if you go down to the show notes below, you're going to find out how you can connect with Kristin. Is there anything that you wanted to Did you have any offer that you wanted to share or anything with anybody that we can tell them right now? That'll be in the show notes also.
Yeah, I actually am giving a free hypnosis recording to bring in feelings of peace. So I will give you that link so you can put that down there. And I actually just opened and launched a subscription for people to get full moon and new moon tarot pulls sent to them on WhatsApp. And so that can be a nice little ritual for you where you don't have to like show up on Zoom, sit through a set, right? Like 'cause basically, I've been talking to a lot of my clients, and they're like, "We are so overwhelmed right now. We can't sit on Zoom for an hour, for a
Yeah.
full reading." But like getting this like little bit of spirit sent your way every month.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. A very like we got to meet people where they're at, and I
Yeah,
think also there's a lot of overwhelm with the webinars, Zoom. Like
yeah,
people are just like there's so many different things, and they're burnt out of being like online. And so this is what a great way. Like I still get that connection. I still get that wisdom, but I can
mhm.
pop in and look at it when I'm ready and on that day. I love it. So those are both in the show notes below. If you want to get the subscription to the new moon and full moon tarot readings or get the beautiful hypnosis audio for peace, would love that. And so our last question for today is, what does high on life mean to you?
Spirit, right? Like it. I have run the gamut of doing other things to become high
Yeah.
ever since like being a teenager, and nothing compares to that like pure just ecstasy that
Mm,
is a pure connection to whatever you choose for spirit. It's a light in the dark. It's a hug in the grief. It's that money coming when you're scared. It's all of that the feelings of receiving, the feelings of being protected, being strong. It makes me high even talking about it.
yes. And that's why we're here. Get high on life. Thank you so much, Kristen, for your magic and rituals and the elements today.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye bye.